The shocking truth about gorillas. As one of the most amazing and gorgeous creatures in the world, gorillas have generated a great deal of curiosity in pop culture, science, and the general public. There's plenty of gorilla action to be had, from their being the focus of Dian Fossey's groundbreaking study to being attractions at zoos throughout the globe to appearing in the exhilarating King Kong movie. And speaking of action, this brings us to the topic of the video for today. Although gorillas and humans are very closely related, they are still wild animals. Do they thus possess a dark side? Some uncontrollably frightful tendencies? Do they truly have a tendency to go all King Kong and destroy everything in their path? Alright, let's figure it out. Gorillas. In reality, the name gorilla refers to one or both of the two dominant species of the gorilla genus, which belongs to the hominidae, or hominid, family together with humans. The name gorilla comes from the ancient Greek word gorilai, which means tribe of hairy women. This is due to the fact that Hanno, an adventurer from the Carthaginian kingdom, was the one who initially found and recorded them. Journals from Hanno's expeditions to West Africa in the 5th century BC describe a hairy tribe, the majority of whom were women. Thomas Stoughton Savage, the contemporary scientist who made the discovery, categorized the animals using a name from ancient Greece that matched Hanno's description. At first, research placed them under the chimpanzee species troglodytes, but gorillas deserved their own species. There are now just two species of gorillas, gorilla, often called the western gorilla, and Gorilla beringii, also called the eastern gorilla. Mountain gorillas, Gorilla beringii baingai, and lowland gorillas, Gorilla beringii graueri, are two more subgroups of eastern gorillas. There are two subspecies of western gorillas, the cross-river gorilla, Gorilla dili, and the western lowland gorilla, Gorilla. In the primate order, which also contains a specific species of Homo sapiens, both gorilla species are the biggest. The bigger of the two gorilla species is the eastern one, and the biggest subspecies is found in the eastern lowlands. Males have the potential to weigh up to 450 pounds and grow up to be 5.6 feet tall. Females average 200 to 225 pounds in weight, with maximum heights of around 4.9 feet. Male western gorillas can weigh between 370 and 380 pounds and grow to a height of around 5.7 feet on average. The females weigh between 130 to 160 pounds on average, which is significantly less than the boys. Two eastern silverback gorillas were the biggest gorillas ever recorded. One was slain in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. At 6 feet 9 inches, he was the tallest person ever recorded. The other, shot dead in Cameroon, weighed an incredible 589 pounds and is the biggest ever. Africa's tropical and subtropical areas are home to all gorilla species and subspecies. Eastern lowland gorillas inhabit the rainforests and marshes of the eastern Congo, whereas eastern mountain gorillas inhabit the mountainous highlands of DRC and Rwanda. Located in the central areas of Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and the Central African Republic, western lowland gorillas share comparable surroundings with their eastern relatives. In the wild, gorillas can live for 35 to 40 years, but in captivity, they can live up to 50 years. The Berlin Zoo's Fatu, a female, is 67 years old. There are 13 great-grandchildren, 20 great-great-grandchildren, 3 great-great-great-grandchildren, and 1 child that she has had and growing. Gorillas live in groups consisting of many females, their offspring, and one dominant male known as a silverback, much like the ancient explorer Hanno wrote about. In a colony, there may be younger males, but these are usually the progeny of the dominant male who hasn't been booted yet. In very rare instances, adult male subordinates are permitted. The majority of girls in a troop are frequently connected moms, daughters, aunts, and even grandmothers because they were born and reared in that same troop. Nevertheless, since they are driven out by their dads or by new silverbacks who take control of the tribe, males seldom develop into the alpha males of their home troop. In general, gorillas are gregarious, calm, and clever animals who like going about their routines without interference. A gorilla spends the most of its time resting, eating, grooming, and creating nests. Another important component of troop cohesion is although the subspecies diets differ, they are primarily herbivorous. Shoots, leaves, pith, flowers, fruit, and even bark are all consumed by mountain gorillas. Do gorillas have a negative aspect? In addition to eating more fruit, lowland gorillas will also consume flowers, leaves, and insects like ants. Are gorillas really evil people? In actuality, gorillas are rather kind animals, in contrast to how they are portrayed in popular culture as vicious, violent beings. Save for the occasional leopard, they have relatively few natural predators and spend 90% of their lives in a leisurely manner. Their herbivorous lifestyle also promotes peace since they never have to engage in combat with other meat-eaters over kills. Additionally, they get along well with other extremely intelligent wild primates such as bonobos and chimpanzees, frequently sharing eating grounds and nesting close to one another. If anything, meat-hungry chimps have occasionally killed gorillas by attacking them as infants. Humans are the one species that has shown itself to be the scourge of the gorilla kind. Populations have been severely damaged by poaching and sport hunting. The most severely affected and now critically endangered gorilla is the eastern gorilla, which is renowned for its magnificent size and coat. That being said, these are still wild creatures with extremely wild instincts despite all of the positive emotions and restful sleep. In particular, gorilla politics can be rather harsh and even violent at times. The battle for troop supremacy is one such instance. The title of silverback confers to males the ability to dominate the majority of females as well as the best feeding sites. The grayish-silver hair that develops on men's backs from this region is referred to as silverback hair from 12 years of age. Less experienced men are referred to as blackbacks and are rarely seen as potential leaders. To claim or hold this throne, silverback gorillas will strut, threaten, and battle, sometimes to the death. Gorillas with silverbacks. When the situation demands it, mature male gorillas in Africa may be just as vicious as any other animal thanks to their powerful jaws, menacing stares, opposable thumbs, and 2-inch canines. Maintaining one's status as king aids in ensuring the survival of one's progeny. The chance to become a parent and enjoy feasts and fiestas in the most desirable regions are the rewards of success for the challenger. At first, at least, a silverback battle will usually look like a regular human boxing bout. The two combatants will participate in a harsh confrontation laced with verbal threats and a few trash grunts. The gorilla may give one of his trademark chest thumps or even stage a simulated charge if no one gives up. There will be a serious conflict if these warnings are ignored. With all of their might, the two silverbacks will launch themselves at one another and begin their terrible brawl. Teeth, hands, and feet are all up for grabs. One of the two warriors eventually gives up to the winner after becoming overpowered. Then, with his non-existent tail between his knees, the loser is pursued away. Older guys will withdraw knowing they will probably spend the rest of their lives alone in the cold, while younger males will run in the hopes of fighting another day. A challenger who prevails will aim to oust the local blackbacks and kill the old king's infants in order to assert his superiority over the troop. Females are forced into estrus far earlier than they would prefer by means of the baby killing. Moreover, male genes that were unable to protect their troop and position are eliminated through infanticide. In addition to the males, females have the tendency to be nasty, especially towards one another. Especially if they are unrelated, females establish their own hierarchy and will compete for closeness to the silverback by interrupting grooming sessions and sometimes engaging in physical altercations. Predators also face hostility from gorillas. When a leopard or snake threatens his family, a silverback will not think twice to fight them off and kill them, even if it means killing them. There are even records of a silverback gorilla being tracked and going after poachers who were kidnapping his soldiers in the Congo. Nonetheless, gorillas seldom pose a threat to people, and the majority of wild armies have some sort of human interaction. Less than 5 gorilla assaults on humans have been reported so far, and none of them have resulted in any fatalities. Besides, such attacks were probably instigated. But, you can't be certain because these statistics are frequently released by nations with a stake in boosting gorilla tourism. Naturally, gorillas might easily murder a man they consider to be a danger, considering their strength and the weapons at their disposal. Fortunately, you will probably get a chance to flee or plead for forgiveness from a gorilla. As with an adversary, a simulated charge, chest thud, and stare down, Silverback will put your mettle to the test. The best course of action is to roll into a ball on the ground, avoid making direct eye contact, and pray. If they don't think you pose a threat, they will often leave you alone. Regretfully, some gorillas have the same level of resentment as humans. In a nation where gorilla tourism is essential, you can wind up an unrecorded statistic if you were unlucky enough to come into contact with gorillas that have had negative interactions with people in the past. If you know anything more about gorillas, please share it in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.